morning, church. It's so good to be together with you in your living room, in my living room, today. So we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to take some songs that I would call throwbacks. Songs that have been, around for a couple of years and have made their lap a couple of times and have really been used in a lot of people's lives to sing these truths to the Lord. And so we're gonna sing some old songs. Hopefully these are familiar to you. Hopefully they bring back some memories. Why don't you get on right now in the comment section and just type out, hey, these are some of the old songs that the Lord has really used in my life to bring me through some seasons. So we're just gonna take some time, and it's a little more stripped back. It's a little more intimate here together in your living room. We're just going to sing these songs of worship and praise to the Lord. When the music fades, all is stripped away, and I simply come, longing just to bring something that's worth, that will bless your heart. I'll bring you more than a song, for a song in itself is not what you have required. You search deeper, you search much deeper within, through the way things you're looking into my heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship. When it's all about you, it's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I made it. When it's all about you, it's all about you, Jesus. Oh, and when I come to die, oh, and when I come to die, just give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. Come on. Give me Jesus. You can have all this world. 'Cause you can have all this world. Yes, you can have all this world. Just give me Jesus. And when peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. Sing this out in your season right now. It is well with my soul. Yes, it is well with my soul. My sin, hold the bliss of this glorious thought. My sin, not in part, but the whole is nailed to the cross. Hallelujah. And I bear it no more. Yes, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Oh, my soul, it is well. It is well. Come on. With my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. Sing it out. It is well. It is well. It is well with my soul. Sing it one more time. Yes, it is well. It is well with my soul. And I stand in all of you. I stand in all of you. Holy God, to whom all praise is due. I stand in all of you. Yes, I stand in all of you. I stand in all of you. Holy God, to whom all praise is due. I stand in all of you. what could I say? What could I do? But offer this heart, oh God, completely to you. What else can we say, Lord? So what could I say? And what could I do? But offer this heart, oh God, completely to you. Lord, we give you our everything. Yes, Lord. I'll stand. So I'll stand with arms high and heart abandoned in awe of the one who gave it all. I'll stand, my soul, Lord, to you surrendered. All I am is yours. I'll stand, Lord, and I'll stand with arms high and heart abandoned in awe of the one who gave it all. I'll stand, my soul, Lord, to you surrendered. All I am is yours. All I am, Lord. Yes, all I am is yours. All I am, Lord. Yes, all I am is yours. And how great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will see how great is our God. Think of what he's done for you, and we sing that again. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will see how great is our God. He's the name above every other name, Lord. He's the name above all names, and he is worthy of all praise. And my heart will sing, how great is our God. Tell him one more time, how great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. All will see how great is our God. Amen. Lord, you are great. It's really sweet to just sit here in your presence and recall these songs that we haven't sung in a while, but songs that are full of truth, that you are great, that you are the only thing we want, that you are the only thing that we need, that even in the midst of our trials and the difficulties that we face in this world, we can proudly and boldly say, it is well with my soul. Because we don't live for right now. We're living for eternity. So God, we thank you for this time to just practice what we're going to be doing forever in eternity with you, just singing praises to your name. We love you, and we pray these things in your name. Amen. Well, hey, church, it's been so good to worship together with you this morning at Christ Community Naples. We're so glad you're here at church, online with us. If you're in the area and you're not quarantining at home, we would love for you to be able to join us. We're also meeting in person at the South Collier YMCA on Marco Island at 10 a.m. We're making sure that we're socially distancing and that we're wearing masks and all of that so that we're being safe for each other and taking care of one another. But if you're not in the area or you're still choosing to stay at home, that's why we're continuing to have church together live online with you as well. So we want to make sure that we're just taking care of each other. If you have a prayer request right now, go ahead and type the word prayer in the comments. We would love to be reaching out to you and praying together with you. There were a lot of people last week that had some very specific prayer requests. They typed the word prayer in and we were able to pray specifically to the Lord for some awesome things. And we would love to be able to continue to partner with you in that way. If you've been choosing to call Christ Community Naples your church home, this is the time that we're going to give together. It's an act of service to the Lord, and it's just an act of giving back to the Lord what He has graciously given to us. So the link right here is on your screen, christcommunitynaples.org/give, or you can go ahead and mail in checks if you're more comfortable with that to 6060 Collier Boulevard, Suite 36. We're really appreciative of all of the generous donations that people are continuing to give to what the Lord is doing here in Naples. We've got a couple other announcements. Student ministry is every Wednesday at 6:30. And we've been seeing some really great growth in the student ministry over the last couple of weeks. Praise the Lord for that. And we're excited to just continue to grow into the next generation what the Lord is going to do. If you have a student though that that's in the area, just go ahead and give them my contact info, Kyle@ChristCommunityNaples.org. And I would love to reach out to them and get them continually plugged into what the Lord is doing here. Also, children's ministry is back up and running at the YMCA. So if you are interested in serving and volunteering your time, we need volunteers. We need people that are willing to give up one weekend every 6 weeks to be able to come in and to serve in the kids ministry so that we can, continue to have a great rotation there and just give people a break from the moms having to have their kids all day, every day, so that they can just send their kids off to kids ministry and they can be poured into there. So if you're feeling like that's a way that you would love to serve, go ahead and just type volunteer and I'll be reaching out to you this week to kind of get your info and give you more information on how we can have you serve there. This is the time now. We're going to worship to the Lord together with one more song, so check it out.
Well, amen. Man, church, it's been so good to worship together with you this morning. We've been singing some old songs. Now we're going to sing a new one. And this song was written in 2020 with a lot of kind of the tension of what's been happening this year. And I know that we all kind of feel it, right? That there's been so many things going on. It's been just trial after trial after trial. But this has an awesome truth in it. And it says that you've been God for a long time. This whole time didn't catch him off guard, didn't surprise him. But this is all part of his plan. So we're going to sing this song together. Here we go. You always finish what you start. You always finish what you start. Yes. What you have grown into a garden, you planted in the dark. You always finish what you start. Yes. The good things just take a little time. Good things just take a little time. Yes, I know that your hands are working in the soil and bringing me to life. Good things just take a little time, yes. So I will trust you in the famine, I will bless you in the feast. When I'm standing in your victory, when I'm on my knees, I will praise you with the rising and the setting sun. You're gonna catch me singing when the springtime comes. It's coming. This story has an empty grave. This story has an empty grave. Yes, we it's true. Jesus, your process is a mystery, but your promise never fades. This story has an empty grave. Yes, we will be walking through the fire and dancing on the waves. This story has an empty grave. We trust you, so I will trust you in the famine. I will bless you in the feast. When I'm standing in your victory, when I'm on my knees, I will praise you with the rising and the setting sun. You're gonna catch me singing when the springtime comes. Let's sing this truth. You've been God for a long time. You're the final word, you're the finish line. Everything's gonna be alright. We know, 'cause you've been God for a long time. We know it's true. Yes, you've been God for a long time. You're the final word, you're the finish line. Everything's gonna be alright. We know, 'cause you've been God for a long time. So we trust you, Lord. I will trust you in the famine. I will bless you in the feast. When I'm standing in your victory, when I'm on my knees, I will praise you with the rising and the setting sun. You're gonna catch me singing when the springtime comes. You're gonna catch me singing when the springtime comes. Let's sing that chorus together one more time. I will trust you in the famine. I will bless you in the feast. When I'm standing in your victory, when I'm on my knees, I will praise you with the rising and the setting sun. You're gonna catch me singing when the springtime comes. Amen.
Good morning, church. So glad that you can join us here online today. I hope that you're having a great day. We're going to continue through the book of Daniel. So if you want to open up your Bibles to Daniel chapter 3, that's where we're headed. Can I tell you, as you're getting there, I want to tell you two things I'm doing right now that are very new things for me, and they're hard to keep going. So the first thing I'm trying to do is, if you've noticed, if you noticed this about me, you'll know two things about me. I really like when my hair is short, and I cannot grow a beard for anything. But I kind of made a commitment that until the building is finished, I'm not cutting my hair and I'm not shaving my face. It's like my little thing. It's like my little, I'm not doing this until the building is done. And trust me, I have had many days of wanting to recant on that because it's so humid down here and sweaty, and I look awful, and it's just awful. But it's my thing. And every morning when I get up and look at my ridiculously looking somewhat kind of I don't know, I can't even say it's a beard, and my hair that doesn't do anything, I am reminded to pray for our building and to remember again, it's not on my strength. It's not what we're going to accomplish. It's not human wisdom. It's just going to take the Lord doing it. So again, I'm praying for the Lord to make that happen. The other thing I've started is I decided to do a run streak. Instead of running every few days, I run every single day. So I think I'm on day 25 of my little run streak. And trust me, some days are harder than others to run, and my legs hurt. And so here's what happened yesterday. I was so busy yesterday. I didn't run until Bethany and I went over to the Rochins and we hung out with them. We left their house at 10:30 last night. And I came home and ran because I hadn't run yet. So I ran late last night. And because I got to get my thing in every single day. And it's hard, but there are some things that we're called to do that we feel, I mean, God didn't tell me to do either one of these things. It's just me and my own weird ways of wanting to accomplish things. But I feel like I want to quit on them every once in a while and not kind of go through it. That's a little bit leading into Daniel chapter 3. This is a very familiar story, y'all. This is a very familiar story. You know this story. This is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. You know Daniel chapter 3. You know this story. But humor me a bit and read along with me in Daniel chapter 3. Now, by the way, maybe you have a thing you're working on right now that none of us know. Maybe you got a diet thing or you're doing some weird workout thing. Hey, please put it in the comment section. What's the thing you're doing right now? Look, I was vulnerable. I told you 2 things about myself. Give me something on the comment section. Now, tell us the thing you're working on that you don't want to quit on. Maybe you're back into painting or whatever. I don't know. Come on now. Give us a thing. Daniel chapter 3, verse 1. King Nebuchadnezzar made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits, its breadth 6 cubits. He set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then King Nebuchadnezzar sent together the satraps, prefects, governors, counselors, treasurers, justices, magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And when all these people gathered to the dedication of the image that the king had set up, they stood before the image. And the herald proclaimed aloud, "You are commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages," verse 5, "that when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, bagpipe," some band there, "and every kind of music, you are to fall down and worship the golden image that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall immediately be cast into a burning fiery furnace. Therefore, as soon as all the peoples heard the sound of the band, the peoples, nations, and languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up." So here's our setup into our story. Nebuchadnezzar has decided to build a statue of some kind. It's got gold on it. Lots of people think that it goes back to chapter 2 and the dream that he had about these nations, that he builds a statue that looks something like it as a dedication to him and his standing, and he covers it with gold, as this we learned in the vision last week, that his head was gold. That represented Nebuchadnezzar. Somehow, anyway, he builds this giant statue, and if you think they couldn't build those kinds of things, the Sphinx was built much sooner than this. You've got this. Now, it's done in cubits, which isn't a measurement we're very familiar with. 60 cubits and breadth is 6 cubits. It was 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide. It is this mega statue. That's 9 stories tall. And he's built it out in the plains of Dura in the province of Babylon. Some figure about 16 miles from the city of Babylon out into the plains, where he had time to do it, where no one was looking, and then he could have this sort of big unveiling. But Nebuchadnezzar builds this thing to try to bring everybody together. Now remember, he's captured this new land, he's trying to build a new empire, and he wants to be sure that every person is going to be faithful to him. That they're all going to be willing to bow down to him, they're all going to be willing to worship him, they're all going to be worshiping at the feet of King Nebuchadnezzar. What a awful idea for those of us who are believers. And here's the problem. He demands that everybody worship. If you don't fall down and worship when the band plays, you're dead. We're throwing you into a fiery furnace. Now we get to verse 8. "Therefore, at that time, certain Chaldeans came forward and maliciously accused the Jews. They declared to King Nebuchadnezzar, 'O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that every man who hears the sound of the band and every kind of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast into a burning fiery furnace.'" So they're like, can you feel these guys coming? Like, oh, King, live forever. Oh, so like smarmy and yes, man. Oh, King, live forever. Yes, you, King. Remember what you said, King, that everyone must bow down and worship? Do you remember what you said, King? There would be a consequence to not falling down to worship. But we want to just come and tattle a little bit on some people we saw. We're little tattletales coming to tell you that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these guys you set up, these foreigners, these men, O king, pay no attention to you. They do not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar is furious and rage. Now, how did Nebuchadnezzar not even know this? How does he not know everyone didn't fall down? So many people. Imagine, out in this big desert plain, he rules the entire empire, and every leader of every kind is there, and this music plays and everyone bows, and it would be hard even in this mega crowd to even see that three lone figures are standing. And I mean, what was it like? What was it like to be Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Did they have a plan when they got there? Were they like, hey, y'all, we ain't bowing. There's only one God we bow to. We're not bowing down. I don't know what the thing was. I don't know. Was there pressure? I don't, like, what was it like to be there and see a mass of thousands upon thousands of people all bowing to the thing? Did they stand straight? Did they, like, maybe, I don't know. But they stood there. Three lone figures in a sea of people not bowing to the statue. And when Nebuchadnezzar hears the news in verse 13, he is furious rage. And he commands that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought to him. So these men are brought. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said to them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the golden image that I have set up? Now, if you are ready, when you hear the sound of the music, to fall down and worship the image I have made, well and good. But if you do not worship, you shall immediately be cast into a burning fiery furnace. And who, y'all, the arrogance of this king, and who is the God who will deliver you out of my hands? The guys are brought before the king. The king goes, listen, maybe you didn't understand what I said the first time. Maybe I'm going to give you a second chance. When the band plays, I'm going to bring the band in right now. Hey, band, come on in. All right, the band's here. Now, they're going to play the music. You're going to see the image. When they play, you're going to bow and worship. All right? And if you don't, I'm going to kill you. He gives them a second chance. I don't know if it's because he valued them. I don't know I don't know if he's gracious. I mean, he's in a spirit of rage here. I don't know. But he gives them another chance. A second turn to bow. What do? These next verses are the entirety of this chapter. Verse 16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If this be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning, fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. You notice here they don't argue with him? Did you notice here they don't go into a grand defense? Well, God told us and God... We don't even need to answer to you. We answer to somebody in a higher position of authority than you. Look at this firm, I don't think it's a prideful response. I think it's a confidence in God response. By the way, confidence and humility have no problem hanging out in the same room together. These humble men came with full confidence in God, saying, we are not going to do it. God will deliver us out of your hand. What? God will deliver you out of my hands? Let me tell you about him. Our God will deliver us. And even not if he doesn't, we're not bowing. Verse 19, then Nebuchadnezzar was filled with fury. He was so angry the expression on his face was changed. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times more than it was usually heated. In other words, I want this furnace as hot as it can possibly get. And he ordered some of the mighty men of his army, what is it? As if the strong men could take down their God if they decided their God was going to show up, what his strongest army was going to take down their God. He ordered them to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their cloaks, their tunics, their hats, and their other garments, and they were thrown into the burning fiery furnace. So the furnace is this big giant, probably made into a hillside where you'd walk up it. It had a hole in the top where you could feed it, and a hole in the side where you could look into it. And he takes them up there and they throw them into the furnace. Because the king's order was urgent and the furnace overheated, listen to this. The flame of the fire killed those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men fell bound into the burning fiery furnace. As they're walking up to the furnace was so hot. It was so urgent this get done. Those big, strong guys who walked them up there, that fire licked them up and they were dead. And down in the fire go Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Verse 24. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished and rose up in haste. He declared to his counselors, did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire? They answered and said, true, O king. He answered and said, but I see 4 men unbound, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the appearance of the 4th is like a son of the gods. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the door of the burning fiery furnace. He declared, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out and come here. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out from the fire, and the satraps, prefects, governors, counselors gathered together and saw that the fire had not had any power over the bodies of these men. The hair of their heads was not singed, their cloaks were not harmed, no smell of fire had come upon them. Yeah. Do you understand what's happening in this story? Let me just take a quick pause here. So they're thrown in the fiery furnace, bound, with their hats on, tunics on, cloaks on, fully bound. Nebuchadnezzar looks over the next second. They're no longer bound, but they're alive. The guys who threw them in there are dead. They're alive. They're walking around the fire. They're unbound. And there's a 4th person. Another person has joined him, who it says here looks like a son of the gods. That's what his appearance was like. They had come out of the fire, the 3 of them. He brings all of his men over, all of them. They look over these like, is this real? Are you guys real? Did what happened happen? Like, there's no ash on you. There's not even a little tiny burnt. We don't even smell smoke in your clothes. You're not singed in any way. Like, how is this? Like, all right. Like when you go to a campfire, you ever have a little bonfire in your backyard, or go like you smell like smoke so bad that you're just sitting around it. You weren't even in it. Like imagine they smell like no smoke, no singe, no burn, no ash. Nothing has been allowed to touch these men. These men who act out their faith in obedience and strength. Nothing has been allowed to touch them. Not a single spark has been allowed to touch a particle of their clothing. Nothing has been allowed to touch them because there is a 4th in the furnace. And he not only has the appearance like a god, I'm here to tell you today, it was God. You see these, you'll see all through the Old Testament, the angel of the Lord, the angel of the Lord, the Lord. This is, you ready for me to tell you who this fourth person is? Ready for me to solve the mystery to you of who the fourth person is? The fourth person in the furnace is Jesus. It's the second person of the Trinity. It's God the Son, the pre-incarnate Christ. Before he comes and appears in the flesh, see, he God always has been. Jesus, we're told in the Bible, created the entire world. He's the one who created it. That was the role of Jesus, God the Son. Here he is. He shows up many, many times in the Old Testament. These are called both theophanies or Christophanies. A theos or Christos would be God. Christos would be Christ. A pheno is appear. This is an appearance of God. This is an appearance of Christ. This is Jesus walking around in the furnace, protecting Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to ensure that nothing happens to them. He won't allow one hair on their head to be harmed. But notice this. One thing did go away in the furnace, and what was it? They're no longer bound, they're free. What a sign of what Jesus has done for us. We're free. They're walking around in freedom with Jesus. Man, I can't even imagine. What were they walking around like? Like, I don't know. If it was me, and I was with Jesus, and I was in a furnace that wasn't burning me up, I'd probably be like, I'd probably be walking around like, I would be like, I wouldn't just be standing around. I'd be like, woo, yes. We're in the, yes, I'm in the fire, yeah, hey, Nebuchadnezzar, hey, see, I told you, hey, look, he's right, I told you, hey. Oh, maybe you wouldn't do that, I don't know. I think I would, I don't know how I'd walk around. Nebuchadnezzar, in verse 28, answered and said, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him." Y'all, who trusted in him. Who set aside the king's command, who yielded up their bodies rather than serve and worship any god except their own God. Boy, wouldn't that be something for somebody to say about you someday? Wouldn't you love someone to say, "Blessed be the God of Gary, who sent his angel and delivered up his servant who trusted in him, who set aside the king's command and yielded up his body rather than serve and worship any god except his own God." What a statement. Therefore I make a decree. Any people, nation, or language that speaks anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be torn limb from limb, and their houses laid in ruins, for there is no other God who is able to rescue this way. Church, there is no other God who is able to rescue in this way. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. There is no other God who is able to rescue in this way. Now I want to put to you, why did God rescue these brothers? Here it is. I got a few things for you this morning. First of all, here's the thing in 16 through 18 that we notice about these three men. This isn't a, I believe in God. That's not what these people are like. I believe in God. I believe in his word. I think it's true. These guys were like, I believe in who God is with the entirety of my being. My worldview is filtered by this one thing, my faith in God. That I believe he's a God who keeps his promises. I believe that he is faithful and just and righteous and true. And I believe him no matter what. In fact, my faith is so real, it impacts my day-to-day life, that every decision I make is based around the fact that I have a faith in God. It doesn't the thing that sits here on the shelf and I take it off and polish it and use it when it's convenient to me. It's not like that. My faith is everything. Every decision I make is based around my faith in Jesus Christ. Every decision I make is based around the fact that I believe that God is real and that he exists and that he is a rewarder of those who seek him. This is what their life is like. And this is right here, faith in action. That's what obedience is. It's faith in action. Me living out my faith in such a way. Now imagine having my faith in action even when I stand out. Look at this. Everybody, every leader of every influencer, every important person, every little tiny sort of important person, every official, everybody is gathered there. And everybody's doing exactly what they're told, except for these guys. Imagine what it was like for everybody bowing down, and they realize there's some guys standing next to them, and they're like, sort of looking at the statue. They're sort of like, bro, get down. We're all like bowing down here. Like, what's wrong with, what are you doing? Like, get down. What a weirdo. What, are you gonna die? What's wrong with you? What? But I'm telling you, people who stand out are people who are respected. Why was it such a big deal that they had to go be tattled on? Because it drove these guys nuts. That there were three people who had so much integrity and so much character and so much conviction that they wouldn't bow down, that they were actually afraid of those guys. I would rather those guys be killed than have to be around guys with so much conviction. It's hard to stand out, y'all. It's hard to stand out. I believe it's hard to stand out. I think it's hard for us as believers to stand out and look different. We want to blend in. We're constantly looking for ways to blend in. We're looking for ways to camouflage ourselves, to look like the rest of the world looks, so nobody has to think that I'm different. But if you're going to be a follower of Jesus Christ, if your faith is real, I promise you there are going to be many days in the life of your business and in your family and in your community where you will be going against the flow. You won't be doing what everybody else is doing. You'll be standing up, standing straight, not bowing down, and standing out. Now, I love the faith of these guys. See, these guys are not living on. Understand this now. These guys are not living on their parents' faith. They're not living on what they got taught in Sunday school. This is their own faith. They took what they were taught and what was modeled to them, and they've put it into action, and they believe it now for themselves. This is a really big deal. Because if you're still leaning on your parents' faith, if you're still leaning on cultural faith, I'm telling you, when the big moment comes, you will not stand. You will bow the knee. When the pressure comes and the threat of punishment comes, you will bow the knee. You will not stand out. You've got to make your faith your own. Do you believe that Jesus is God? Do you believe that Jesus actually came to planet Earth? Do you believe that he lived a perfect, sinless life? Do you believe that he died on a cross to take our punishment? Do you believe that you're a sinful person? Do you believe that Jesus Christ offers you forgiveness and freedom? Do you believe that Jesus Christ has come to redeem you? Do you think there's any other way of salvation other than Jesus Christ? If you believe all that is true, that is a game changer for the rest of your life. It changes the trajectory of your life. It changes what you think about, what you live for, what you stand for. And when our faith is real and it takes action, is when we're able to be the kind of people who stand up and stand out when everybody else is bowing to the whims of this world. I know my faith is in action I'm going to stand out. I know my faith is in action when I feel threatened. My faith in action even when I feel threatened. Listen, if you guys don't bow, I'm going to kill you. We're not going to bow. Okay, come here. I'm going to give you a second chance, but this time I'm in your face. This is just for you. You bow right now, we're good. We'll pretend like nothing that ever happened. You bow right now, we're good. But you don't bow right now, and I promise you, I will kill you in this instant. I promise you. I wonder what you do when you feel threatened. I wonder what you do when you give in to the threat. Like these guys are like, my God will deliver us. Our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from a burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O King. He will. My faith is so sure and so strong that I believe in the face of your threats, what God will take you out of my hand. My God will. I believe this so much. Why do they believe it? Why do they have the faith to believe that even in the face of a threat, that our God is greater than the guy who's making the threat? Why do they believe that? Well, I would think that they have a lot of stories they were told growing up. I'm sure they were told about the parting of the Red Sea. I'm sure they were told about how they were delivered out of the hands of the Egyptians. I'm sure they were told about how God provided food in the wilderness and how he provided water in the wilderness. And I'm sure they talk about the sun standing still. And I'm sure they talked about a pillar. I'm sure they talked about all this. I'm sure they knew every story of God, awesome moves of faith by God. But I believe it's even stronger than that. These guys don't even have just stories. These guys have actual experience. Daniel chapter 1. Faith to believe that God would bless them if they did the right thing and didn't do what everyone else was doing by eating the king's food, and he did. Daniel chapter 2. This ain't the first time they've been threatened with death. We prayed and sought God's mercy, and he answered us. We have seen God consistently show up in our life to deliver us, even when our backs were against the wall, even when we were taken out of our homeland, even when we were forced to eat foods we knew were wrong for us, even when we were told us you were going to kill us once before we got God work, and he's going to work again. Y'all, I cannot tell you what a big deal it is that we have our stories. It's a huge deal. This is why I've told you this before. My family has a memory box. And everything in the memory box is filled with ways that God has answered our prayers, where God has shown up for our family. Our kids have hundreds of stories of watching how God's shown up and intervened. But beyond my kids having stories of what God's done for our family and for my parents and for my grandparents, my kids have their own stories of what God's done for them. I have stories of what God's done for me. And these are the things that fuel our faith, because I know when my back was against the wall, God showed up. I hope you have story after story after story. I'm going to give you homework this week. I want you to go home this week, and every day I want you to take out a little piece of paper and a pen, maybe get a journal, maybe buy a notebook. I don't know what you have to do. I want you to start asking God, remind me of these stories again. I'm going to start writing down these stories, and I'm going to keep them in a place, because when my faith gets a bit weak, when I'm starting to wonder a bit about what you're doing, I want to go back. When I begin to feel threatened, I want to go back and go, my God is greater. My God is better. My God has answered. My God will not allow that to happen. My God is awesome. See, I need you to have this. I need you to have this, because if we don't have this, we're in big trouble. We got to have these. We got to have these. I love when Job says in Job chapter 13, verse 15, though he slay me, yet will I hope in him. All the chips were down for Job, everything taken away. Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him. Though he has allowed me to be taken from Jerusalem and taken to an evil king in a different empire, I will yet hope in him. So God has taken things away from you and from me. So God has allowed us to walk through the valley. I will yet hope in him. Though things haven't gone my way, I will still yet hope in him. Jesus said in Matthew 10, verse 28, "Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell." That's what they're saying here. I feel threatened, but I only fear God. Here's the third thing, my faith in action, even when I'm walking to the fiery furnace. It's one thing to say it, it's a different thing to believe it when they're bound and walking up to be thrown into that fiery furnace. You notice here they don't scream, they don't yell, they don't cry, they don't change their minds, they don't go back, okay, we get it, you're serious, okay, it's not an empty threat, it's real, we're sorry. No. I told you I trust God. I believe he'll do it, and even if he doesn't, we will not serve your gods, and we will not worship the golden image that you have set up. Even if God doesn't come through, we would never even consider or entertain the thought that we would worship another God except for our great God. Even as they're walking up to that fiery furnace, even as they're thrown in, there's no screaming, there's no crying, there's no calling back. If I gave everybody here a chance, you could tell me of times that you've been walking up into that fiery furnace. You could even tell me times that you were in that fiery furnace. But I believe God. I believe God. I believe that God will show up. There are times I've been on that ramp looking into the fiery furnace. Bethany and I, my wife's had 2 miscarriages. Both times that is a painful, awful experience. Those are dark days. Days I will never forget in my life. Days I will never forget in my marriage. But I'm here to tell you that in the hardest days, Jesus was standing there with me. Most of you know, I've gone through some health crisis with a brain tumor and follow-up surgeries and medication and looking down, and I remember going in for that surgery thinking I wasn't going to come out of it. And even as I laid there, I said, yet will I praise him. And God was faithful and just and stood by my side and gave me a sense of peace and watched by my family. And he stood there with me as I went through the furnace. I never said in that moment, God's not real. God doesn't care. God gave up on me. God's not with me. In every moment we say, I have faith to believe that Jesus is everything he promised he would be to me. Even when I'm looking down in the burning flames, even when the flames are killing my captors, even in that moment, I trust and believe that God can and will. And even if he doesn't, I choose to walk the path of holiness and faithfulness and righteousness because I would never turn my back on the one who gave everything for me. Isaiah 43 verse 2, when you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. And sometimes God does deliver, and sometimes he doesn't. And sometimes he allows us to go through some things that shape us and form us and make us stronger and better. Now I love hearing this passage that maybe you've asked yourself and are wondering when I'm going to bring it up. Where'd Daniel go? Where'd Daniel go? I thought this was about Daniel. He just disappears. Where'd Daniel bow? Where'd Daniel go? Well, I think last week we saw at the last verse that Daniel remained in the king's court. I think that was a little nod to 3. I think Daniel was 16 miles away back in Babylon. I think he was tending to the king's affairs. But here's the thing that really excites me about this. You saw in the beginning, Daniel was kind of carrying along these 3 brothers. going in front of them. But these guys have made their faith their own. They have matured in their sanctification. They have matured in their walk with the Lord so much. They're not drinking milk. They're eating the solid food of the Word. And these brothers have matured so much that they have owned their faith for themselves. They've gone through the discipleship process out on the other end in the way we all hope we come out. Even if we aren't where we were before, we can see that God's growing us and changing us and making us stronger, making us more mature, standing in the face of a king saying, I don't even have to give an answer to you. I'm not doing it. My God will and can deliver me. Here's the last thing. My faith in action. And even then, you are with me. Remember we went over in January. We did a whole series on the 23rd Psalm. Remember that? A whole series on the 23rd Psalm. And even when I'm in that fire, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Even though they're walking through the valley of the shadow of death, even then they fear no evil because they know that He is with them. Not just even figuratively. There He stands in the middle. Nebuchadnezzar could see Him. He's standing there. Even then, when in the worst place, in the furnace, and it's licking us up, and the flames are coming, Jesus goes, I'm here. I'm with you. I won't let one thing happen to you that I don't allow. He doesn't have the authority. I have the authority. That king doesn't decide your fate. I decide your fate. And King Jesus is standing there. Listen, He's looking to reward those whose hearts are towards Him. The obedience of these men to go all the way to the end. My faith in action, even then, you are with me. I want you to know right now, the Holy Spirit dwells in you. If you're a child of God, the Holy Spirit dwells in you. Jesus is with you. He'll never leave us or forsake us. This is an awesome truth to live in today. Do not be shaken by the world. Do not be shaken by the authorities that have been set up in the world. For greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. Jesus is with us. Even in our darkest day, in our hardest moments, when we think it's all over, Jesus is there with you. And I want you to know right now, because some loved ones who are with us and watching right now are going through some really hard days. I'm thinking about some very dear people in our church who I know are watching right now, and you are going through some very hard days. I want you to know Jesus is with you. And I love that you're holding on to your faith and all that you know to be true about God and His Word. And you're not giving up, and you're not backing down, and you're not walking away from your faith. You're not chucking it all. You're holding fast and tighter than ever before. And I know that some of you even sense and know His presence with you. I think that is awesome. And I want to say to you, keep up. Don't give up. Even when it's hard, even when it's difficult, even when it's painful, do not give up. My God will deliver me out of your hand. And even if He doesn't, I will not bend my knee to Satan, not even for a moment. Because God is greater than everything. What an awesome lesson to learn from Daniel chapter 3 and these men. Let me pray for you. Our Heavenly Father, we love being in your word, this familiar story coming back to us again. Lord, I am praying for those in our church who are facing a faith crisis. Maybe their health is bad, or their finances are struggling, or their future is unsure. Lord, I pray today that in the face of adversity, in the face of difficulty, that their faith would be as sure as it has ever been. That they would look into the face of the evil one and say, I will not bow down to you. My God will deliver me. And even if he doesn't, I'm not bowing to the likes of you. I need not give you an answer. Lord, I am praying that you would help us to be strong, to hold fast to our faith, to be certain that what we believe is true. Thank you, God, that you have shaped us and changed us and formed us and made us yours. We surrender ourselves to you now. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.